What is up, everybody? Travis here with the Moto Aftermath Show, and we are back with another interview out here at Redbud, and we have our sponsored rider, Kevin Moranz, here in the house. Kev, thanks for doing this, man. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on.
Not a problem. So we are in the middle here of basically Redbud 1 and Redbud 2. So let's start with, how did your Redbud 1 feel?
It felt all right. I definitely progressed a little bit. Definitely in the second moto. The second moto was good. My biggest thing is I need to have my first moto be good, because like the last 2 rounds, because I've only technically had 2 rounds this year, first motos are iffy, second motos are stronger, so I need to be stronger in the first motos, to be really honest. I just got a good start in the first one. I was inside the top 20, and I was thinking too much about staying in the top 20 and getting those points, because that's obviously like my main goal right now.
Yep.
Instead of thinking about just my riding and relaxing, and I just kind of went south from there, so I dropped back pretty far, just couldn't really breathe. And the second one made some bike adjustments, so I rode a lot better. I wasn't getting beat up with the bike as much and just flowed a lot more and came up just shy of points. So tomorrow, Monday, round 2 at Redbud, we better be in the top 20. That's pretty much what I'm thinking.
So you said bike adjustments between the two, okay? Everybody always says this, and maybe you don't want to give out any secrets. What kind of bike adjustments did you make?
So the biggest thing is we pulled my forks down 5 millimeters.
Okay.
So they were up, and so we pulled them down so they were flush. And then we, I believe we sped up the rebound a little bit in the rear. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of just told my mechanic that was here.
Just do whatever?
Well, I told him what I was feeling, and he made the adjustments for me.
Okay.
I didn't really ask him too much about it, just because like you don't have a whole lot of time in between motos. But But I do know for a fact that we took the forks down 5 millimeters. That way it kind of not leveled things out, but it gave me a little bit more length.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Cool. Now you've had a little bit of a rough start to the season here. Obviously, Loretta Lynn's won. You had that we'll call it a head injury. Who was it that ran you over?
Hunter Lawrence.
Okay. Yeah, Hunter Lawrence. So shout out to him. Thank you for
a little salty. He never reached out.
Oh,
he never
man.
said anything.
Really?
Whatever.
He was pretty cool.
I mean, he probably didn't really know it was me, to be really honest.
Oh man.
Well, you would think like if you would have ran over somebody, you'd like, oh, who was that?
Maybe we'll get somebody to DM him and be like, hey, so you ran over Moranz. You probably should say something.
Yeah.
I mean,
no, you're good.
Okay, but then now we've been back for Ironman, and then obviously Redbud 1 here, and like you said, you've had some decent results, but you're just outside that top 20. You're knocking on the door, but it's a weird year. So what do you expect?
Yeah.
Now Supercross. How did that go for you? Because you were in SLC 1, 3, and 6.
Yep.
And it had 17, 17, 13, and 13 was, I looked it up, your best ever Supercross finish. So congratulations on that. How was that? How was that going every other day or whatever?
I honestly liked it. So it's completely different for a lot of people, but privateer life, that's what we're living right now. It was amazing for me because I was able to not have to travel every weekend, didn't have to pay for flights or fuel or anything like that. It worked out in my favor because I actually had an uncle that lived out there.
Oh, perfect.
In Park City, so like 45 minutes away.
Now that's up higher than actual Salt Lake
exactly.
City, right?
So it was nice to go up there, and like I would do my mountain bike rides and do my training up there, and then be able to actually, because you're already at elevation in Salt Lake, so going even higher to kind of sleep and stay there and train and everything, and then come down was nice.
Cool.
To the races, but like an overall scheme of it, I'd say let's do Supercross like that every year. Because it was cheaper for us. It was just more manageable. You didn't have to travel as much. It's easier just to recover, train, ride. And it was also nice because like as a privateer, as anybody racing dirt bikes at this level, one of your biggest expenses is training, off the bike training and everything. So like to not have to need to be at a facility and to be training during the week because you're racing every other couple days, so you're just recovering in between kind of, was awesome.
Now, did the altitude mess with you at all, or?
It did the first race, but like I got up there a week and a half earlier, so the first race I still kind of felt it, but like after that, like you noticed it, but it wasn't as bad for me. I got used to it a little bit.
Okay.
So it was nice.
Now, what did you do in your off time here? Because I know we had a lot of off time because of the big C, little V that's been going on here. We'll use that term so we don't get, demonetized or something. So what did you do in your off time here? Because we've had a lot. What did we have? 3 months between like Daytona Supercross and Salt Lake, and then we've had another 3 months. So what have you been doing in between there?
Well, what I did as soon as the COVID happened and everything got canceled, because that was actually kind of unfortunate for me because I had literally just landed in Minneapolis And 20 minutes later, I got the text that the race was canceled.
Yep.
And that was a $500 flight. So it was like, oh, that's sick.
I remember I texted you because I was trying to figure it out because I was coming down and I'm like, bro, is this happening or what? And you're like, I don't know.
Well,
They're telling me no.
As soon as we left for the first flight, we knew it was kind of iffy. We left, as soon as we land, because we had a connection flight, they're like, hey, like it's still happening. No fans are coming. They're limiting. You get like 4 passes like for your mechanic, your team manager, stuff like it. It's like, all right, I mean, it's still happening. And then as soon as we were on the runway taking off for our last flight or the connection flight or whatever, they're like, it's not looking good. Like that's all I got is the text, it's not looking good. So the whole hour and a half, 2-hour flight, I'm like, what is going on? And as soon as we landed, we get to, oh, it's done. I'm like, just flew all the way out here to turn around, go stay in the hotel, and wake up and go back the next morning. But no, so I actually loaded up and went back home to Kansas because that's when everything was hitting the fan and they were talking about closing state borders and like there's rumors, all that stuff. So like I didn't really know how bad it was going to get. So I loaded all my stuff up and went home, obviously because there was no Supercross in the foreseeable future, and I knew I needed to get all my stuff switched to Moto.
Yep.
Because that's what they were talking about doing, is doing motocross before Supercross.
Yep.
So I got lucky and unlucky because my race bike stayed on the rig because I had no way of getting it off the rig, so it stayed on the rig until Supercross came back. But I came back home, got all my stuff switched over to outdoors to start riding outdoors because they're talking about doing motocross before Supercross. 2 weeks later, I have to take all my suspension back to get it set up for Supercross again because now they're deciding they're doing Supercross first. So the off time that we had was just a lot of trying to figure everything out, trying to get all my stuff together for whatever was happening, Supercross or motocross, and then just kind of honestly help my parents around the house with like home projects, and then doing training schools with certain, you know, one-on-one students throughout the COVID stuff. Obviously didn't want to have like a big group or anything, but that was the best way for me to continue putting funding back into my program for when things were going to start back up.
Yep.
So just kind of did that, and then as soon as we knew Supercross was coming back, I was training a little bit harder myself, like making sure I was doing my off-the-bike training and stuff. Went down, got some laps in on a Supercross track before heading out to Salt Lake, and then wada bing, wada boom, we're here.
Cool. Now you've trained at Carmichael's place, at the Goat Farm.
Yeah.
A lot of people would give their left leg to go there and even just see it. What is that like being down there?
It was really cool. Like, so Jeannie, which is Ricky's mom, and Big Rick, which is Ricky's dad, they're a really cool family. And then Ricky's obviously awesome too. Yep. They're all really down to earth. The training facility is amazing, obviously. Like it's an awesome setup. It does come with a price tag, so it's tough to continue doing that year in, year out kind of deal. So I'm hoping I can be back down there for Supercross next year, or at least somewhere for Supercross next year. That's kind of my primary look right now, but it just, hopefully everything pans out with COVID right now.
Now, do they have, because everyone's seen like the old barn they have there with all of Ricky's shit in it.
Oh yeah. Do
they have another barn for you guys, or everybody just pits out of that?
No, that's an old barn that we're not even really going because it's like hardly standing anymore. Okay. But it is wild. Like I've walked through that barn and there was just motors, frames, wheels on wheels on wheels on. There's all sorts of parts from Ricky's deal, and it's kind of cool too because like through the property, like I know that there's certain parts that they obviously like can't just like give out or let people kind of have, I guess is the best way to put it. So there's just old stuff laying out there everywhere. So like his lime green frames from his, I don't know when it was, honestly. Like I think it was when it was on his, whenever he was on Cowie's and had the lime green frame and the whole look and everything. Like you can literally, those are just sitting in the woods out there. Like
that's wild.
It's wild. It really
Holy
is.
Smokes. Now, do they have, so they got 2 Supercross tracks there? Is that right?
So they have a lower track and upper track, and then they have one big outdoor track.
Okay.
So there are 2 Supercross, one bigger motocross track.
Mostly sand because it's in Florida, or is it
yeah, it's pretty. It's not like Midwest dirt, I guess is the best way to put it. It's definitely a little bit more sandy, and it's good and bad. Just for the fact that like if it sits for a couple days, it turns to concrete with water on it. You know what I mean? Like it just turns really hard. But I like that dirt more when it comes to a training facility because it's easier to prep. It's like whether you rip it, drag an I-beam over it, water it good kind of deal. Like in the Midwest, at least where I'm from, because I'm from Kansas, like you have to till water, you have to rip, water, till.
More of a clay dirt?
Yeah, you have to like prep it for it to be rideable. Somewhere down there, it's easier to be rideable whenever.
Now, who did you ride with when you were there? Who were the other guys?
So Martin Davalos was down there. He's not there anymore.
Party Marty. Oh, man. Oh, man. We love Party Marty on this show, dude. He parties. He parties a lot.
Oh,
a lot of times it's in the dirt, but he parties.
No, Marty, he's really cool. There's like Colt Neigeman, Josh Cartwright. There's some other guys down there. And then Joey Savacci was another big one.
What's he like?
I mean, he's kind of like what everybody describes him as.
Just quiet.
Yeah, he's quiet. He was cool to me and everything, but he's kind of standoffish, doesn't talk much. But other than that, he's a cool dude.
I mean, we just call him the Savacci syndrome on
here.
I've lost a lot of points in fantasy to him, especially in the 250 days when they were I'm just like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
So, okay, and then you've also trained at Raynard's place, right?
I haven't like full-time been down there, but I've been down there several times, and like, it's pretty good, especially like Benny Bloss and like Austin Fortner are down there, so like I'm buddies with them from back in the day, like being in the Midwest with them. So it's cool to be around people that I knew growing up, and then obviously like Benny too. Like we've kind of gotten close when I've been down there and back and forth. But it's nice just to like have somebody there that you're kind of is obviously a little bit faster than you to continue pushing you. When I was down at the farm. For instance, like Joey didn't really always ride with us. He kind of did his own thing.
Oh, okay.
So it's nice when I was at Raynard's that those guys, I would actually ride with those guys, and those guys would do the same program as me, because it would help push me a little bit more.
Okay.
I guess is the best way to put it.
I have something I want to ask you, but I'm not sure if you can tell. So you've rode with Fortner. Have you ever jumped on that Pro Circuit bike and ripped it?
No, but I don't know if I can. So I don't think it's that big a deal. But like last year, I was on Cowie's, right?
Yep.
And I was really struggling with my like setup at the practice track. So and Marty was down there.
Yep.
So he swapped me bikes.
Oh,
because I wanted him to ride mine.
Yeah.
And I hopped on his, and I was like, I was really struggling on my bike and everything. I got on his bike, and I damn near looped that thing out in third or fourth gear just going down a straightaway. I was like, this has way more nuts on the bike than me, than my bike had. I was like, that'd be nice, you know what I mean?
Well, you always hear these stories, and like I keep telling you, I'm on the outside looking in, so I just hear these stories of like people riding each other's bikes and stuff, and I'm like, man, I wonder if he's ever hopped on that PC bike. And just been like,
I never got to the race bike. I'm sure they keep it pretty similar, but it was his practice bike. But yeah, I'm not the best with like setting up suspension yet. It's something I'm learning a lot about.
Okay.
So I can't really give you a whole lot with that, but like the pure power of that 250 compared to my 250 is like him riding a 450 compared to my 250.
Wow. I can't imagine what those star bikes are like.
I mean, for real.
Oh, well, I mean, I guess, you're out there with them, so it's like, oh, boy.
But like, that's like the biggest thing. It was a really big debate with me coming into outdoors, 250 or 450, 250 or 450, because like a lot of pointers point towards the 250 or the 450 because, it's cheaper.
Yep.
You can have a stock bike and be relatively very competitive. It's probably a touch easier to score points, this, that, and that. But like the biggest thing for me being young and being where I'm at in my career, I didn't want it to look like I was giving up on the drive of the 250 class, because obviously it's a little bit tougher. So that's why we ended up going 250. Because like looking at the results, I'm not saying I would, but I feel like I could be in the top 20 in 450.
Yeah.
So it's just now we need to do it in the 250 because that's obviously what I'm racing. You know what I mean?
It's all right.
It's a little bit more stacked, but I mean it's the best way for me to continue my career by not showing I'm giving up on the chase, I guess.
You're still young enough,
man.
You're fine. So, okay, so you've done all the nationals, correct?
Yes.
Okay. What is your favorite national track?
Pre-COVID, Red Bud.
Okay.
Honestly, like it was badass coming here last year, because it's just a completely different vibe when this is just full and you can't even walk around. You're doing your sight lap and people are you can't even listen to your bike because everybody's so loud. Like it's legit. Like track combined with fans, this for sure. And then another one of my good one that I really liked was honestly Washougal, because it was more the dirt that I'm used to riding when it comes to like the like not as sandy, I guess is the best way to put it. And then it's just, that's a fun track to me. I like the ups and downs and the jumps over the hills to the back sides and stuff. I thought that was a lot of fun.
Okay, all right. Did you come for Des Nations in 18?
I did not.
Oh man, you think it's wild here? You should have been here for that, dude. Twice as many people.
For real?
Oh, dude, it was.
Oh my goodness.
It was absolutely not like so. It rained. Like we sat in line every day at like 5:30 in the morning to get in, and it downpoured. Every morning we were here from 5:30 to like 8, 9 o'clock when it started, and then like right here, these roads behind us. So this was all flooded and just mud. So we spent like 2 hours after the race every day waiting for traffic to clear out. And it was just like a mud pit watching people in their BMWs and their vans trying to get out of here. Insane, I'm telling you. So that was well worth it. And if you get a chance to go to an MXDN,
I want to.
Man, it's wild. So, okay, couple of let's do your superhero origin story. Let's go there. When you started riding, how you came up, Loretta's years, turning pro. Let's take the audience through that here.
Okay.
Let's not take all day, but
okay. I'll
give the details.
I'll long story short it for you. So the biggest thing I would say that sets me apart from other riders, a majority of riders nowadays, is a lot of kids came through, did the homeschooling route, did the training route, and that's like a big thing now.
Yep.
I went all the way through public high school. I played other sports, like I wrestled in middle school, played basketball, got to high school, did a little bit of wrestling then, and then played football all 4 years, all the way to senior year. So like I graduated high school with a 4.13 GPA, and didn't do any training when it comes to like, traveling and being at a facility. Never done that before.
Okay.
So I was 17 when I graduated high school, because I graduated at semester. And through all of those years, the only thing we ever did, I've never been to Minio's, Mammoth, never did any of that. All we did was, and all we could afford, is one qualifier, one regional, and Loretta's every year. So like we never did multiple regionals, we never did multiple qualifiers. Like you either got it that day or you don't, kind of thing. So I was really like fortunate, and that's one thing it plays in as a factor now, is like I'm a pretty consistent rider. So I was always fortunate enough to not hit the ground, not make stupid mistakes. Like I always qualified into Loretta's, so we've been to Loretta's 8 times.
Okay.
So I don't want to keep going too far. So like say we graduate high school, I've been to Loretta's, like I said, 7, 8 times, top 10, 5 of those times.
Okay.
Never had any podiums, but I was always right behind those factory dudes, continuously kind of getting looked over, which was pretty solid, being that I'd only raced that much a year, kind of. Yeah. And focused on school and, living more of a normal life. And I think that's one thing that plays in my favor now when it comes to, these kids that don't experience high school and the real social aspect of school. A lot of them can't really carry on conversations and talk very well. Yep. So that's one thing I kind of like.
You're definitely not that socially awkward.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
exactly.
Kid. So like, it works in my favor now when it comes to like marketing and trying to get sponsors and stuff like that. Yep. Is because I'm not standoffish. I'm not super shy. Like I take pride in that I can talk to people. Okay. And that's kind of what I have to push on myself. But and then actually continued into, after graduating at semesters, when I first straight went into thinking about going pro, because I was kind of over the Loretta's thing. And we went right into Amsoil Arena Cross. Had no real experience at anything Supercross, Arena Cross wise, besides like some little arena crosses that are a lot more tamed down. Like there's a Nitro Arena Cross, or Hoosier Arena Cross series now is what it's called. It's kind of where I got my base. I really loved the cat mouse game that you play in Arena Cross and everything, so I jumped into actual Arena Cross. And when I walked the track, the first one, and I was walking through the whoops, I was speechless. I was like, there's no way you can hit these. But it actually ended up going really well for me. Jumped out, got a heat win in my very first lights race, and then I was doing both classes. So went into the AX, which was like against Bloss and Hayes and those guys, and whole shot at all of them. And ended up third in the first ever AX heat. So I got right into the head-to-head the first time. Like, I felt like a superstar. I was like, these are all these dudes that I've been looking up to and everything. So like, it was cool, but it was nice that I was able to jump into it and find success so quickly, because that's honestly, I'd say Amsoil Arena Cross is where I kind of built my name at the start, because like I said, in Loretta's, I was always kind of a top 10 dude, but always overlooked right behind the factory kids. So it was very rewarding to kind of get the recognition I felt like I deserved to an extent. And then they pulled the plug on Amstel Arena Cross. So
see ya.
But then I went into outdoors and then did pretty decent my rookie year, got some points. Then Supercross the next year, and that's when I ended up getting hurt at the beginning of the season, and then came back this season and did really good this season. So like, the moral of the story is I went through an actual education, went through public school, didn't do all the training stuff until I got done with high school, and then did do the training stuff, took it a lot more seriously, but continued to go to online college, graduated with an associate's degree already, and that's kind of where the extent of my online stuff is going to be. So I have 60 credit hours that's ready to go, transfer to any four-year college if I want to go towards a bachelor's or if I want to do it online. But I'm kind of taking a break now just to focus on my career a little bit more.
Can always go back to school, man.
Exactly.
Always go back to school. One thing you didn't answer in there, what was your first bike?
P-Dub.
Okay.
Little P-Dub.
Started with P-Dubs.
It was a yellow P-Dub too.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, it was that was kind of where we got started, and from there, like, it's wild what it can turn into. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So.
Okay, so.
I kind of rambled a lot more than I expected.
No, that's okay. That's okay. So getting towards the end of this here, a few rapid fire questions here for you. Who's your favorite superhero?
Superhero?
Yeah. You know, Thor, Iron Man.
Honestly,
do you got one?
I don't really. I'm not into that much, to be really honest.
Okay.
I was never really. I mean, I always watched I never watched superhero movies that much. The only one I remember watching is like Spider-Man, but I feel like that's not really like a good one to go after.
I mean, it's not bad. People love Spider-Man. Okay, let me ask a different one then.
Alrighty.
Let's go back to when you were a child. Saturday morning cartoon.
Cartoons?
You're sitting there with your Cocoa Krispies.
How old are we talking? Are we talking
Let's talk 10 or below, man.
10 or below?
Let's go back to the old...
Tom and Jerry, dude.
Okay, all right.
Tom and Jerry.
Okay, fair enough,
the shit back then.
All right, cool. Now, I know you can't do this because you're on a training program. I know how you pros are. Cake or pie?
If I even take motocross out of it, I'm not really either. Like, it just never makes me feel good.
Oh, not a sweets guy.
I'm a big cookies.
Oh,
cookies are my downright warm chocolate chip cookies is a game ender.
Man.
But if I had to choose between those, it'd probably be pie. For whatever reason, the frosting on cake doesn't really do me.
Oh man, well, right. I mean, pie's the wrong answer, but that's fine. I used to ask that when I'd interview kids for jobs, and they'd say pie, and I'd be like, yeah, you can just throw out the door right now, thank you. No. Okay, and then I already asked you if you went to regular school or homeschooled. You answered that. So the last question I got for you, what's your favorite vintage bike? Let's go with a 90s or before bike. I don't want any of this early 2000s crap. We're going 90s or before.
I'm gonna be bad about this. Like, this is obviously before my time. Let's put it that way. But I don't even know, to be really honest. Like, I'd have to say probably like a YZ250 or something like that.
Well, that's fair enough. So, okay, so to wrap this up, thank your sponsors. Let them know where they can find you as far as all the social media stuff goes, so that way they can find, because you've met Max. He's the weirdo that keeps pointing the camera at you. Doesn't tell you who he is. He's filming some stuff so that he can get you some edits here. So tell them where they can find you. Thank your sponsors here. We'll get this all wrapped up, man.
Well, I want to give a big shout out to my man right here in the Moto Aftermath show. No, very, very happy to be a part of your guys' program and have you guys be a part of mine. But other than that, the best way you can find me is check out my website at kevinmoranz.com. You can find me on Instagram at Moranz77 and Facebook at Moranz346. For whatever reason, it hasn't let me change my number to 77 on that. But no, I mean, there's a lot of good people behind me this year. The biggest one I'd have to say would be the TPJ Fly Racing team. They're the ones that helped me get around to the pro outdoors. And I could go down the list. There are a lot of really big people that have stepped up for me, like Letco Cycles has stepped up with me for my bikes this year and helped me with that situation. Fly Racing's been huge with my whole program and the whole helmet wrap situation that I have going on, and allowing me to do that every race. So a lot of other really good people behind that.
What about your 2 helmet sponsors for this weekend? Because I know it was EBC Brakes the other day.
EBC Brakes, and then Moto and Ink is going to be tomorrow, because that was actually round 1's helmet wrap, but that clearly didn't go to plan. So we're bringing them in for another round for sure.
Cool. Well, awesome, man. We appreciate you doing this, and good luck tomorrow. And thanks for tuning in, guys, and we will see you on the next one.
Thank you.